You are beautiful. You are powerful. You are worthy.
Hey beautiful, welcome back to the Kiya Convos podcast. I'm your host, Amoah, and also the founder of Kiya Cosmetics. This is the space for all things wellness, self-care, and empowerment. And I am back with another solo episode. This episode is going to be slightly different. So I've got my brother Markus here behind the camera. You can still say hi. I thought just to make it a bit more conversational, it'd be good for Markus to just ask me some questions. So I gave him the topic, which is playing small, just because that's something that's quite close to my heart. I feel like that's something I've experienced myself with Kiya. If you're not too sure about the term, playing small is basically diminishing your achievements. It's like a cousin of imposter syndrome, I like to think, but it's basically downplaying your achievements, downplaying what you've done to either make someone else feel comfortable or just because you feel like maybe you're comparing yourself against someone else. And just because they seem to be doing a lot better than you or doing the things that you want to do ideally, you feel like your achievement is minuscule compared to theirs. And that's not the truth. Like, at all. We should celebrate all of our achievements, no matter how big or small. And we shouldn't shrink ourselves. I feel like that's something that's very common in today's society, especially off the back of like looking at people on social media. We can compare their lives. It's just not real. We see so many people on social media with extravagant lifestyles, traveling all the time, just doing the most. And we feel like our lives are boring or we're not achieving those great things just because we can't afford to maybe travel 6 times a year, which the ordinary person can't anyway. But yeah, all of that to say, just take note of what you are doing in your own life and how it genuinely makes you feel. If you weren't comparing with something or someone on social media, how would you feel about this? You'd be happy, no? Like, that's what I think anyway. So that essentially is playing small and my thoughts on it. But yeah, Markus, you had some questions. This is not prepped, by the way. I don't even know what he's going to ask.
No, improv. But no, that actually sounded really interesting. I guess the question that just popped into my head is how has playing small affected, I guess, it's you in general when it comes to Kiya plans, for example?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like because Kiya did really well straight out the gate, like a few months in, it got to lockdown and then our orders were blowing up. Like we were it was going, I didn't even know what to do. We were overwhelmed. We were selling out all the time. I had the warehouse. I had 5 members of staff, the good old days. So when it got to the point of having to scale back and then letting go of the warehouse, moving back in home, not having 5 members of staff to help me make the products and stuff, I felt like I failed miserably. Like I think all of 2022, I was burnt out and depressed. I felt like, oh my gosh, you can't even, like you had the office and you're snapping the warehouse and all of that. Now you can't even do it. I don't want to snap my house. Like, I just felt like I took a huge leap back. But in essence, when I look back at those days now, I still had a very active customer base. We were still doing stuff. We were still getting inquiries for like stock and things like that. I feel like I'm doing a lot better now, like 2024, 2025. Yeah. But that definitely had a knock on my confidence in terms of how I showed up online. So I wasn't really online at all. 2022, 2023. And I just wasn't as proud of the brand. I feel like it wasn't until last year probably that I felt like, no, I like my brand. Yeah. I'm going to show up. I'm going to talk about my brand. Before that, people would ask me, oh, how's Kiya doing? I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. You know, it's going.
It's there.
It's there. But, you know, back in 2020, 2021, I was getting so many press mentions all the time. So I think when people see that, they think the business is even doing better than it is. So when you don't have that, I felt like it was just loud. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone can see it's not doing well. Everyone can see I'm not in the office anymore. Yeah. So I think those things were playing on my mind a lot. And I think I probably made it worse by not showing up anymore, not speaking about the brand online anymore, and basically playing small negatively affected and made it even worse. So.
No, I get that. And it's tough to even just admit that. So I guess, how did you claw your way back to feeling a lot more confident? Listen, this life, you got a claw.
No, for me, so I basically just took a step back and I said, do you want to continue Kiya? I was getting messages, emails, don't ever stop. I love the products, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that meant a lot to me, but I was like, is this sustainable? Is this something you truly have a passion for still through this hardship? It was crazy. And I did. The answer was yes. So it was like, okay, so what do we have to do? So for me, that looked like starting afresh almost. So that's when I decided, okay, let me make this a new, Kiya 2.0 almost. And that's when I thought, okay, what do you want the brand to look like? So I changed the logo, changed the packaging, made it more minimal, which is my vibe. I looked at the products. I was like, okay, sustainably, if you are to grow the brand again, what does that look like? It looked for me like scaling back the products. So unfortunately, that meant letting go of some of the hair care products, which I've had so much pushback against, but that's the only way I can really push forward and start again and grow the brand. So, and then in doing those things and doing in-person events as well, that was so good. I'm so glad we started doing the events. That's when you started
being involved in Kiya.
Yeah, basically. That was nice because like the in-person interactions are really genuine, wholesome. People are like, oh my gosh, that smells so good. Oh, it feels so nice. So that, feedback, and it was, I guess it ignited my passion again for the brand. And in doing that, naturally, I've got more content. I'm showing up online more. And as I'm doing that, the brand is growing. We've started getting press again, which has been really good. So yeah, that's what I was saying before. It's like the two things feed each other. So if you're playing small, you're not showing up for yourself, and then people can feed off that, and then they don't buy into what you're doing. Whereas if you're just showing up authentically as yourself, people can't not buy into it. And I think a good move for me was deciding to do the podcast as well, because I love conversations, I love wellness, I love self-care, I love beauty. And I think just showing up online and talking about those things has been a good decision for the brand, because we're being put in front of new people, a wider audience. I can't speak today. And I think that's having a positive effect already. Like, it's been a month, but I'm already seeing a difference. So yeah.
That's good. Dora, I've got 2 more questions for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So now that you experience feeling small and the elements that it caused, and now you feel like you're on a bounce back where, okay, a spring in my chest, I can do what I'm doing. How do you monitor that to make sure that you don't feel small again, if that makes sense? Because it can be easy.
Yeah, so for me, that looks like limiting my time on social media. So I'm struggling with this because I need to show up more, but I feel like I'm prone to comparison. So if I show up and I see certain things that are what I want to be doing, or I feel like, oh, we used to be able to do that, we can't do it right now, that affects my mood negatively. So for me, I don't tend to just scroll on social media as much for leisure. And I've looked at who I'm following online as well anyway, to help with that. And dealing with burnt out. So I did mention on the podcast, actually, in my last solo episode, that I'm doing a 12-week year. So with that, I've got my goals clear. I've got 3 goals, major goals for this quarter. And I'm just focusing on those. And that's keeping me grounded. It's keeping me focused. When I tick something off, I'm celebrating. I'm like, yes, we've got another episode in the bank. Oh, I've secured another guest for the podcast, etc. And I think that's just keeping me focused on my own garden and like watering my own garden. And in doing that, I'm a lot more proud of what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I'm focusing on the things that give me joy as well. And that helps me when I'm doing things that don't give me joy, like packaging the orders doesn't give me joy. Responding to the very small amount of difficult customers doesn't give me joy, although I've got someone that handles that now. Yeah, just focusing on what gives me joy and going all in. Yeah, I think that's what's been helping me and avoid burnout as well. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And not to keep you, but your last question, I think, is
I think
how do you then celebrate your success? And also, I guess it's two questions in one.
Okay.
It's like, how do you celebrate your success to make sure that when you look back, it's motivating you, be like, I'm actually doing well. I actually love the brand, and like to give yourself a pat on the back, and a little sneak peek in some of the plans that we got for the year.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Keep us here.
Celebrating my successes. I need to get better at that. So I will decide, okay, I'm not going to do anything on Saturday because I've done everything I needed to do in the week. So this will be my bedrot day. I feel like I keep talking about bedrotting on this podcast, even to guests, but I think it's very necessary. And that's something that fuels me and allows me to charge back up. So I will spend the day, a Saturday, in bed with the quickness, watching TV, eating food, chilling, resting, thinking. I think that because I'm such a creative, I've always been a creative, I can't just go all the time, because I feel like if I'm just going all the time, I don't have time to actually think and be creative, and that drains me and makes me sad. So I love to reward myself with downtime that then allows me to be more effective and creative. In terms of, I think that's what I do, is celebrating. And maybe a Cadbury's cream egg, because they're in season now. I know they're not fruit, but they only sell them. But they only sell them this time of year. So I have been getting anytime I enter a shop and they actually sell it, I've been buying one. So, but I've got one at home at the moment, and I'm not going to have it until Saturday when I've done everything I need to do this week. So, yeah. That's good. And what do we have planned? So the podcast obviously is live. So many episodes and guests coming up, which I'm excited about. And I also want to do events. Marcus, we need to get the events.
Some of it outside.
Yeah. So initially, I did want to do one event a month. I felt like that was overkill.
Once a quarter is good.
So it's looking like once a quarter. And new products were supposed to be once a quarter. Yeah. Working on that.
Stay tuned.
Yes. For March, we're looking at something else coming out. And I just feel like the events, the podcast, and a few new products are definitely on the cards for this year, and the most I can manage for right now. But then I'm not opposed to maybe later on in the year, we'll see what else comes up.
Sounds good.
Exciting.
Sorry, I just have one more thing to say.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Not to say, but what's your advice to people that actually do feel small currently right now, and how to get out of it?
First of all, don't. You're doing very well. You are alive. You are working towards your goal. You are, if you're not, you're preparing to set your goal. Once you do, then well done. Big tick. Journal. I've found something I didn't mention. I've found journaling really, really helpful for me. So I've tried the write your dream day, and I enjoyed that. So essentially I used ChatGPT, and I wrote down all the things ideally I would love to have or do in a day, my dream day. So like wake up, be very descriptive. So like wake up, it's 5:00, but I feel so awake, and I'm about to go and do my Pilates session. And it gave me so much energy. No, literally be very descriptive. And then I had my ginger tea and blah, 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 blah. So you literally go through a dream day of your most higher self, and then you write it out in first person, like a diary entry. So this morning I woke up, blah, 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 blah. And you read it over and over. I found that very effective. And then if that's your dream goal, what do I need to do to get from this morning to that morning? How can I make a start? So for me, that looks like getting up and getting completely dressed, even if I'm not going out. Maybe I don't like to wear makeup every single day, but at least brows and something on my lips, some kind of lip gloss, just to feel put together. And it's like my higher self would always look cute. So how are we going to start looking cute and put together now? So essentially, that's a way to feel better about yourself, feel more confident. And then if you feel more confident, I think that in turn will allow you to show up more for yourself and stop playing small. So yeah, I hope. Okay, great. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know below if you had any key points that stood out to you, or if you've had any experience playing small where you've gotten out of that as well. I'd love to keep the conversation going. If you're not subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe and also like the video and share it. Let's grow our podcast together. Thank you in advance. But yeah, we'll be back again on Sunday with another episode. It will be a guest episode and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.